Let's see what a female dating coach has to say. And most of them are quite blatantly horrible. Their advice is very female centric, only considering the female perspective. But let's see. Let's see what happens.
The only relationships that will last long term successfully are as followed. When the man loves the woman way more than the woman loves the man.
Yeah, so this is obviously not true considering 80% of relationships are ended by women, okay? In reference to marriages, of course. But I'd be willing to bet that this goes across all relationships, not just marriages. Absolutely not true, and we can get into that. But let me see what she has to say, and we'll get more into this.
Or when the man and women love each other equally.
Yeah, so let's get into the cope.
And the common denominator here is that the man has to be fully invested. The thing is, that lopsided relationship where the woman loves the man more is going to fail because she is putting in overtime. Women will always put in effort in the relationship to make it work, whereas man.
So this could not be further from the truth. I mean, if you look at it, right, and most guys can relate to this, whenever you as the guy are extremely down bad, this is usually where the relationship ends. And this is simply because women have the incentive of security that they look for in you. And that's one of the main reasons why they date you in the first place. When your security comes into question, this is when they're most likely to stray. So, this idea that a girl is more invested in a relationship and will always try to the bitter end is just blatantly a lie. I think it's a delusion of what girls think is actual effort. And I think it's a modern issue, right? Like we live in such calm, peaceful times that I think people really don't know what real effort is. Okay. And we can easily reference this 100 years ago, right? I mean, men would go back to war, or men were going out to war, and some of them were coming home, and their wives just waited for them and didn't do crazy stuff and stray and all this stuff, at least not in masses. Okay. Yes, this always existed, but it wasn't as common because there was some standard and there was a respect for the man, and the woman had respect for her man and a general societal respect. Now, it's what women specifically think is effort is just the bare minimum, right? It's the bare minimum. So, whenever girls talk about this, I always know this is some feminist motivated logic where it's like, oh yeah, well the guy needs to love the woman more. The woman must dominate. Unfortunately, you guys don't like nice guys, and there's so many nice guys out there available that will date you like this, and you reject those guys all the time. So don't blame the guys. Blame your choices because you guys like to choose the guy that is attractive in that way and will dominate, but then you want him to be hyper invested to you. And the weird thing about this is it doesn't make any sense. I've talked about this exact concept so many times now, and it's always the same story, right? Every single time. You want it all. You want every type of man in one man. The guy that's going to go be a shark, be a salesman, make a bunch of money. He's not going to come home and be submissive to you. I'm sorry to tell you, he's not going to do that. The issue is most of the time, you women are picking that guy because obviously that disagreeable guy is going to be the most financially successful. Okay. And it's not just about finances. Okay. Finance is just one part of it. It's about the dominance aspect. You guys like dominant men. End of story. This is just an objective fact. This isn't even disputable. So the fact you're coming here and saying, oh, but the guy has to like me more is completely contradictory. You're choosing the guy that is or has those characteristics, but then somehow you want him to go against all of his nature just for you and be submissive to you. Stay delusional forever and stay unhappy. That's your only option. And the people that follow you too, they're going to stay unhappy.
Man has to feel fully invested in the relationship in order to make the changes necessary, in order to communicate effectively.
Communicate effectively, classic. Who are the bad communicators? And we all know, okay? Guys are quite blatantly dumb when it comes to communicating in this emotional territory, okay? Because girls are all emotions, right? So the problem is guys try to talk logic and girls talking emotions, and guess who always loses that one? It's always the guy. So we have to ask the question, what is this effective communication? And this is why I also tell you guys, it's all about mind reading. Okay, I tell you guys, and you guys think it's a joke. You have to be able to read their mind. It's just what it is. Okay, whenever I have a girlfriend, okay, when she walks in the room, right, I already know what she's feeling immediately. Now, I didn't always have this ability, but at some point, I developed this because you start to understand what they want. They'll say X when what they'll mean is Y. And when you understand it, now you become an effective communicator when all you're doing is reading her mind, right? So this is once again same sort of woman talking points, only considering the feminine perspective and completely disregarding at all that maybe men have some trouble with some of these talking points that are obviously extremely arbitrary.
In order to put work into the relationship. If you're a woman,
What are you doing? I love this. What are you doing in the relationship? Respectfully, Gabby, tell me. Tell me what you're doing for this guy and give me the list and be honest about it consistently. What are you consistently doing that is so special that a guy needs to be fully invested? And hey, maybe you do stuff. I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest, but I'd love to know what this special thing is that you do that is worthy of absolute full investment straight out of the gate. I'd love to know. How much you want to bet? It's probably nothing.
watching this and you are stuck on that crusty, dusty man, this is your sign to take.
Yes, it's always every guy's a crusty, dusty man, obviously. Any guy that doesn't serve your narrative and serve your exact wants and desires in that moment has to be crusty and dusty, obviously. Get a new one. It's the classic advice every single time. Get a new one, get a new one, get a new one. I mean, it's always the same. It's always the same with these girls.
Your energy back. Put it back into yourself. Put it back into someone who is going to treat you like the queen that you are.
Yes, every single girl on earth is a queen. Every single one. You know, the funny thing is, the ironic thing about this is guys understand that not every guy can be a king. We understand it. There's a select few that have earned the right to be a king. For you to be a queen, you need to have a king, right? Well, how come, if there's so few kings, how can there be so many queens? I'll let you guys fill in the blanks for what I mean by that. For those of you that haven't joined my Discord, make sure you do so, as I'm building a community of guys that are looking to self-improve.